Now, the next question that young writers will ask is, well, how do I get to meet a publisher? Well, there are certain publishers that will still accept unsolicited material, as they say, but really the most effective way is to have them hear you in a club playing, which is much easier if you live in Nashville or LA or New York. And those are just the facts. If you don't, the other way that a lot of young writers do it, they will, they might have a band, they might have a solo, either on their website or MySpace or Facebook or whatever, they develop a following, word of mouth. The advantage to that is if you then decide to go and get a publishing deal, you're holding many more of the cards in your hand because you are then a proven commodity. You can see, look, I've got all these hits on my site. I've got like, a million hits on my site. Well, it's a reasonable thing to deduce after that for a publisher that, well, people must like this guy or this girl. So then you hold cards in your hand. And when I went out to sign with Warner Brothers in the 70s in Los Angeles, which is now Warner Chapel, I realized very quickly that I had to hold all the cards in my hand. It was the only way to deal. And the only way I could hold all the cards in my hand was to write some very good songs, which they had to have. You want to get to a point where your songs are undeniable, so that any publisher you approach or who hears you in the club says to themselves, wow.
You gotta have that song.
Gotta have that song.
Yeah.
And here's one last thing we might see. You can also sign a song-by-song deal. You don't have to sign it when you're...
It's called a single song contract.
A single song contract.
As opposed to an exclusive deal.
Right. Where
you just sign that one song to the publisher, and usually for a period of time.
That's right.
In return for the publisher demoing the song, they pay the demo costs, and pitching the song for that period of time.
Yeah.
And the publisher has a tremendous incentive to get the song cut within that period of time so that they'll maintain the publishing.
Right. And those kind of deals are also becoming more and more common.
Mm-hmm.
Another facet for the writer of a publishing deal is it's almost mandatory now that you have to write a certain number of songs
per year.
Per year.
For an exclusive contract.
And it's usually 16 to 20.
12 to 16 is
12 to 16 is about average.
But now those are complete songs. So if you're co-writing everything with another writer, 12 becomes 24.
Right. Because co-writing is another thing. If you're co-writing with another writer, he has his writer's portion of the song, his portion of the publishing, which he may or may not have signed away. So all the income becomes cut in half.
Yes.
And so effectively, if you've sold your publishing, and regardless of what he's done with his, the remaining writer's income that you still own becomes cut in half.
So let's recap.
Right.
What do publishers do? Well, first of all, who are music publishers? They are the people who songwriters will sell their share, the publishing share of the copyright to for either a set fee or on a single song contract.
Right. Or
they will sign an exclusive publishing deal for a period of, say, 1 to 3 years based on a certain advance against royalties for each year.
Right.
Okay? These music publishers, as Adam said, primarily in the 3 big music cities of Nashville, New York, and Los Angeles. And to a lesser degree, Memphis. And Atlanta. And Chicago. I mean, they're out there. There's a book published every year that is a list of music publishers. And I think it's published by Billboard, so you might check that. Mm-hmm. What do music publishers do? They will help you demo your songs. They'll pay for the demos. They will give you an advance against royalties to help you stay alive year to year. They will pitch your songs to film, TV, and recording artists. Mm-hmm. What did I leave out, Adam? I know what. They will sign other songwriters that will help you learn to write, because there's sort of a farm system between the old writers and the new writers. Well, yeah, they'll already have more experienced writers, and that's invaluable. I mean, I teach songwriting, for example, and what I know about songwriting now, I did not know when I was 18 or 19. And where did you learn it?
I learned it, by hard work, sitting down with other great writers.
With other writers.
More importantly, even in my case, since I was not by nature a co-writer, and the kind of music I was doing in LA it was usually single songwriters, but most importantly, how I learned to be a better writer was listening on record, on CDs, to great writers. As I said, in my case, I just had to set a standard of excellence.
Well, you know, it's funny because I primarily co-wrote. And so I learned by watching people that had been writing longer than me, that were better than me, and picking up little...
Right, which is true.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah. So that's just, there's two ways, there's many, many ways to do that. But yeah, so music publishers, that's the short version. Right.
And one last note of caution, just because someone tells you they're a music publisher, doesn't mean they necessarily are. There are, 5, 6, 7, 8 big ones. But never, ever sign anything without talking to a lawyer.
And also the Songwriters Guild will review publishing contracts. If someone gives you a contract and you're a Songwriters Guild member, all you have to do is send us a copy of the contract, and we will compare it to our standard, our standard single song contract, and tell you how that contract differs from the Songwriters Guild contract. We don't actually do a clause by clause legal review. That's why you have to have a lawyer.
Yeah.
But we will tell you how it differs from the Songwriters Guild contract.
And this area here is probably something you should watch out for. I'll give you, for instance, a very, very good young band in Dallas approached me about a year ago, and we had run a battle of the bands, to find young talent, and they were very, very good. So we stayed in touch, and they said to me, I don't know, 2 or 3 months later, they brought me a publishing deal. They'd been approached by this guy who said he was a music publisher, and I said, don't sign anything, show me the contract. So they brought me the contract, and I looked at it, and right away, anyone who's been in this business for a while would go, no, you can't do that. And here's where most songwriters will lose out in a bad publishing deal. You have no guarantees. Just because he says he's going to cut your songs, or pitch your songs, or do demos, or pay for demos, suppose he doesn't. What do you do? Take it to court?
It's called a remedy.
What is your remedy?
There has to be a remedy in your contract. We'll, instead of getting into...
we'll
go to contracts later.
I'm sorry.
And because it's real easy to start talking about publishers and immediately segue into contracts.
Yeah, but I would say last word. If you want to know more, go on the Songwriters Guild website.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. There's a lot of information on there. And when in doubt, wait and check it out.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching.